Hey guys, I'm here in the Pine Wind Garden today to talk about criteria and standards. So this is about having them, finding ways to maintain them in your daily life, and also a little bit about why they're important. So let's start with that. Why is it important to have criteria and standards in your life? Well, I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with the metaphor of the frog in the saucepan, and that you can turn the heat up incrementally and actually cook the frog. The frog won't jump out of the pan because it fails to notice those subtle increases in temperature. The cumulative effects of lateral complacence. So lateral complacence is a terminology I'm using to describe members of a society all going along with the prevailing norms rather than having higher standards for the society in which we all live. One of the side effects of this is how people are notoriously cruel to those in the service industry, because you're actually seeing people wanting to exercise their criteria and standards, but not seeing valid ways to do that. And so they end up taking these things out on service industry employees because they are not able to use their discernment to properly channel those desires, wants, and needs. I also wanted to point out that I did make my own version of the Margiela sock sweater. This one is Angeles Crest themed, as I do spend a lot of time up there. So I have my constellations here. I've got like the trees, the forest, and it's a little bit fancy on the sleeves. How do you determine your standards? So you want to first look around you, be aware of your surroundings, situational awareness. And it can be hard to know where our blind spots are. I've talked about this in other videos. There's also intersectionality with compassionate mindfulness. So how would things that improve my life also improve the lives of everyone around me? Or are there things that if my life is greatly improved, it's going to cause problems for other people? And is that really an improvement? Also, what are things which I think affect my life very much, but actually don't have that much of an effect on my life? This can be like little things, like my commute is mildly annoying. Does that actually have that much of an effect on my life? And are there minor changes that I could make that would improve it greatly? How do you go about enforcing your standards? You want to first seek out groups that are already established, that have similar goals to you. So that would be things like your PTA, your neighborhood watch, at a very local level. Perhaps if you want to get involved in politics, homeless outreach groups, church groups that are involved in public service, things like that. Now, this does come with a caveat. Anytime you're dealing with 2 or more people, not everyone's going to be 100% aligned with the common goals. Everybody's going to be coming into that situation with their own motivations. Not everybody's going to be as advanced as you are in understanding their own motivations. But it's worth networking with these people because they are your community. Also, not putting yourself in situations where your criteria and standards are not met. So, not everything is ideal all the time, but always looking for opportunities to improve. Now, this applies to your job, it applies to relationships, it applies to pretty much any area of your life: diet, exercise, routine, health, living situation. You can really apply it to anything, and I could go and break down all of these things in separate videos, but those things are pretty individualized, so it would make more sense for each person to come to that in their own way. How do you find what it is you actually want, like, and need? There has to be a separation from context. So there's this idea of what is on trend. I very much like to shop secondhand, not just because things are less expensive when you do that, but also because it removes items from the initial context in which they are presented. So then that article of clothing might be 2 or 3 seasons old. Is it a timeless enough look that I would integrate it into my wardrobe, or is this something that was just trending at the time and now it looks a little bit silly and dated? Do you have a super specific vision that involves lots of moving parts? So the easier parts of that vision to accomplish might not be the most crucial parts. You'll want to, if you have plans like this in your life, like I'm going to move to this specific place so I can do this specific thing, you might want to simplify and compartmentalize your wants and needs and desires in that situation. What is it that you're actually hoping to get out of your move to Portland to be in an indie rock band? Is your goal mostly to be in the indie rock band? Is it mostly to live in Portland? Do you actually want to be a barista? All of those things are good to simplify and compartmentalize. So, one thing I do want to mention is that there obviously are obstacles that have been orchestrated and put into place to keep us from achieving our best lives and best goals. It's not so much an intentional suppression of the individuality as it is a desire on the part of commercial interests to streamline our consumership. So rather than you deciding what it is that you want, if you're being told what you are able to buy, then it makes it a lot easier for these companies to make money consistently. But that's not necessarily what's going to work best for you. So how do you, in late stage capitalism, find what it is that you actually want, like, or need? Algorithms have been used to define our tastes and standards. It's the least common denominator, so everything is being distilled down to its most basic form. And then when one thing becomes popular, only things that are similar to that thing that's very popular are going to be widely and easily accessible. Anything that falls outside of that range, algorithmically, is going to be very difficult to find using the normal avenues, and that is because of the repeal of net neutrality. You will no longer obtain results that are a best fit. Instead, you're only going to be seeing the results that are commercially viable. When something is being heavily promoted to you, it's important for you to evaluate, how does this fit into my personal ideal? And is something else available that would be a much better fit? And finding those things is challenging, especially because we used to have this great tool of the internet that you could use to find all kinds of things. I found all kinds of stuff through the internet I never would have known about otherwise. But how commercially viable is what you're looking for? It might be something that would be better obtained for free, in which case it's going to be very difficult to find it indeed. Now, I wanted to make this video today to kind of, this goes along with the relationships video that I had put out just previously, and it also goes along with some of the cognitive bias material that I've been putting out as well, so feel free to cross-reference those things from my channel. Please let me know your thoughts down in the comments of things that you really want, desire, need, dream about having in your life, that you've had difficulty and you found obstacles to obtaining those things. I'd really love to hear your thoughts. Thank you so much for joining me today, and until next time, never fear the pale threshold.